You know, it's bloody outrageous. Now, what is the common denominator of these other planets and the Earth? Can't work it out. Must be the sun. Now, this is the great one. The temperature's higher than it's ever been since records began. When did they begin? 1862? That's 5 minutes ago in weather cycles. What are you talking about? Back about 800 years ago, they had the medieval warm period. This is mainstream science. This is not me coming up with alternative stuff. The medieval warm period, the temperature was higher than it is now. Okay? What caused the temperature to be higher in the medieval warm period than it is now? Could it have been turbocharged handcarts? What do you reckon? Could be. Flatulent horses, maybe. I can just see a medieval weather forecaster arriving in the village. Dobbin's got the wind, I think we're in for hot summer. And I'm mad? After the medieval warm period, and of course, if they took back the temperatures to then global warming looks very different now. But what they do is they take it back to a period called the Little Ice Age, when the temperature dropped to the point where the Thames froze over, and they used to have ice fairs on the Thames. You can still see depictions of it in Christmas cards and stuff. It just so happens that during the medieval warm period, there was a period of increased solar radiation, and during the Little Ice Age, there was a decrease in solar radiation. So, if you follow the red, which is the Earth temperature, and the green is sunspot activity, I think there might be some connection there myself. Let's come forward. Again, the green is sunspot activity, the red is Earth temperature. Up to 1940, it was rising as we came out of the Little Ice Age. After the war, this period included, when there was a massive increase in industrialization, and therefore carbon emissions, temperatures fell from 1940 to 1975 to such an extent that the BBC were running documentaries about the dangers of the coming Ice Age. Yeah, I remember that. From 75, it started to climb as sunspot activity climbed. This is a scientist, I saw his presentation a few weeks ago, called Peter Taylor. Now this man is the oil companies are paying him scientist. He's a former advisor on pollution and energy policy to national governments, the EU and the UN, and he was a lead advocate for Greenpeace. He was the man who broke the story through a Yorkshire television documentary years ago, when Yorkshire television did some really good documentaries, about the cancer clusters around what was called Windscale, now Sellafield, and the connection between the two. This is what Peter Taylor, an Greenpeace advocate at one time, says about global warming. Behind the scenes, there is major disagreement among scientists. I know that. People at the cutting edge of their discipline are saying it's a nonsense. It doesn't stand up. They don't get the platform that the song sheet scientists get. Parallel to carbon dioxide rising, the solar field has increased by over 200% since 1900, and this is not factored into computer models. Global temperature is not rising as predicted. In fact, it fell by a whopping 0.6 degrees over the last 12 months, as much as it had gained in the previous 50 years. Many of the apparently random fluctuations of past temperature, like when Vikings grew crops in Greenland, correlate to variations of the solar electric field. Between 1983 and 2001, cloud cover, according to International Satellite Cloud Climatology Project, fell by 4% more than enough to heat oceans and account for global warming. A spate of recent science shows that temperature oscillations are timed by solar cycles, that the jet stream is affected by the solar wind, and that past high and low points in the solar cycle correlate with past temperature swings. And as a result of that, because we're being lied to systematically, and the Quentin Letts is saying, it must be true because they're saying it, we are being scammed for vast changes in our society of a big brother nature on another massive global lie. Temperature's been falling recently. So much so that this was a headline in the Daily Mail. Recently, global warming could stop naturally for 10 years, say scientists. And you know what they said? Oh, we've still got to justify global warming. It said in the same piece, they said, oh, but imagine how hot it's going to be when it starts again. All right, okay. International law, that's what it's about. I'm coming to an end now, but let's look at why this is possible, because this is where we come in. It's what I call the prison with the barbars. It's a prison because we act like bloody sheep. We take in what people tell us and we believe it without question. And therefore, we are programmed to react as we choose to react, as they want us to react. We're not choosing to react, we're reacting. This guy, some great quotes from this guy, H.L. Mencken. The men the American people admire most extravagantly are the greatest liars. The men they detest most violently are those who try to tell them the truth. Because people don't want to hear the truth. People don't want to hear the truth because the truth means we are responsible and therefore we have the power to change what we don't like. People don't want to feel they're responsible. They want someone else to blame so they can sit on their arse and watch EastEnders. This is Oscar Wilde, wonderful quote from Oscar Wilde. Most people are other people. Their thoughts are someone else's opinions, their lives are mimicry, their passions are quotation. In short, we are a world of repeaters, where people just repeat what someone else has said as if it's the truth without even checking it out. And no one should accept what I say here today without checking it out themselves, as they can. We have teacher repeaters. What do teachers do? They go through an education system that tells them what to think. If they repeat back on exam papers what the system has told them to believe, they progress and become teachers. They go to teacher training college. They learn more and they pass exams at teacher training college and they get told how to teach and what to teach. And then they go into schools and they tell the children of the next generation what the previous generation told them, and so it goes on. Repeaters. We call it education. We have doctor repeaters, repeating what the drug reps are telling them we should pop us down our throats because it's good for profits. I went to... I spoke years ago at the St Mary's, I think it's called, St Mary's Medical School in London, to medical students. If I went across there and talked to a wall, I'd probably get more response. These are kids, these are teenagers already programmed that if it wasn't taught in the medical school, it can't be true. We have scientist repeaters that come up with this stuff about global warming. And what you find from the non-repeating scientists who are challenging global warming, when they start to publicly challenge it, miraculously their funding for their projects disappears. So if you're a song sheet scientist, you get well funded. Just like journalists who have been described as intellectual prostitutes, I would question the intellectual bit myself. So are most scientists, prostituting their outcome in line with the income in terms of the brown paper package and stuff. Repeater journalists. Anyone that's outside the bubble they're repeating is a nutter, to be dismissed. Repeater politicians. I love this line. Been bent over so long they think it's standing up. If we had politicians who stood by their their conscience, who answered to their conscience only and not to career massaging, yes sir, no sir, I'll vote this way even though I don't agree with it because it's good for my career politicians, then we'd have a decent parliament that represented the people. As it is, all you have to do in a political party is control the tiny few at the top, the Camerons, the Blairs, and the little few people around them. They dictate the policy, and then the other mass in the pyramid in the political party, the Tory politicians, the Republicans, the Democrats, the Labour politicians, they just trot through, yes, okay, I'll vote for it. All they have to do is decide the policy, and the policy's in overwhelmingly. This is how it works. And while all this is going on, Big Brother unfolds so fast. As Mencken said, the most dangerous man to any government is the man who is able to think things out for himself. Almost inevitably, he comes to the conclusion that the government he lives under is dishonest, insane, and intolerable. And it is to stop that awakening that limiting the debate on Big Brother is all about. Secret Agenda, the movie. Puppet people. Follow the White Rabbit. War is peace. Get a brain, Morans. And then you can persuade people that war is peace, freedom is slavery, and ignorance is strength. And you can justify this as fighting for peace. You can say that this is bringing freedom to a people from a tyranny. No problem. Collateral damage, it says so here. But you don't want to see that. Shut up! Watch this! Watch this! Hey, quick, honey! She's going for the car! Liberated. 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 Hey, I think it's terrible that Janet Jackson, she showed her breast at the Super Bowl. I'm morally outraged. I wonder what should really morally outrage us. But we compartmentalise our minds, as so many people do, where they can't see the contradiction between worrying about someone's breast on television and some kid getting blown apart. The two sides never talk to each other, so they can't see the contradiction. Open minds. They talk to